We back! Well, I mean, we have a normal upload schedule. It just so happens that we backlog a buttload of videos just ready to go. So, guess we're here now. Just wanted to let you guys know that this is a Halloween themed, probably, I don't know, the next 10-15 episodes, depends on how many I record, because, I don't know, it's dark. Might not be dark in a few videos time, but it is now. We record just a buttload of videos early so that then Laura has enough time to edit them, and very nice to her in that regard. But we're talking about Waterdeep, which is one of the most popular series on our channel. I have no idea why, but I'm not complaining. We've had a few set changes that actually involve just less than there originally was, but there's tea here now. It's thematic. Guys, we did it. We've made a milestone. I even heard from someone who listened to our podcast that we need more tea in it. I don't know how that's gonna work. We'll do like a tea review every time. We're here to talk about Waterdeep, I'm so sorry. So today is gonna be one of the 4 main villains that you can chuck at your party, because this is about, in terms of what you guys have heard so far about the lovely dragon heist, this is when the villains are gonna start actually creeping up and doing things. We're gonna be talking about probably my favorite one, which is the Xanathar. He's quite a legendary figure. Not he, they, weirdly. It's cool. And there, you know, there's a book named about them, etc., etc. They're a beholder. It's very cool. This episode will also be a brief rundown of how the heck these villains work and how you're going to use them in your campaign, because these main villains should not die until maybe level 10. They're crazy good at their job, and the party may encounter 1 or 2 of them in person, and if they do, they're gonna die or all get murdered. That happened in a recent dragon heist thing that I did. Thank you, Gollaglee. So, these villains in this campaign are very cool because you can pick out of 4. Depending on which one you pick, it will be a different season, which isn't something that I emphasize too much, because sometimes if you give your players enough downtime, a season is going to transition after 10 weeks, which I've actually done. The party started in summer and now they're in autumn. So that's pretty neat. If you choose Xanathar, it will take place in the spring. It's actually called Spring Madness, the chapter about Xanathar. There's an entire chapter about each villain. It's very cool. We'll talk about that next. Each villain has a chapter dedicated to them, which basically entails how they work, how the party can oppose them, various means of doing so, and a massive ass dungeon where they probably live or at least operate. Actually no, they all live where they operate, so it's cool. There's a lot of very interesting stuff you can do with those 4 chapters. I've actually already ended up using 3 out of the 4 of them for the Dragon Heist game, because they've gone to Colat Towers, and they've also went to go onto the Sea Maidens Fair, and then they also had a visit to the Castellantis Villa. That's a spider! Fuck! Screw you spiders, we're not recording in here after this. So this is probably going to be the last set of videos you're ever going to see us in this place with. If Laura actually kept it in, a spider just dropped in front of me. I'm petrified of spiders. So, using the Xanathar. The Xanathar is going to appear, at least as a presence, a lot of times in the campaign. In the first chapter, they're pretty prominent. They actually end up raiding a Xanathar base. And they'll probably come up here and there, depending on which villain that you choose for the Hot Potato with the Stone series. The Xanathar himself, it describes him as a crime lord. I kind of want to play him as a crazy mafia boss in a way, you know? Maybe a New Yorker accent, I don't know. Playing a beholder is something that is a very big task for a DM, because they are one of the most weird and complex, like, enemies that you could ever come across. Xanathar's motives are a bit more solid. They want money, and they want minions. But who knows what else is going on in that dude's brain. He has an obsession with his lovely fishy Silgar, and that's how you beat him. That's how you beat Xanathar if you're an early game party. You stab the fish and cross your fingers. Or you at least hold it hostage and cross your fingers, I think. One of the two. Beholders have weird obsessions, and that's a fun thing that the party can exploit. Definitely let them exploit that. Point out somewhat obviously, there's a fish in the tank that he likes. You know, that sort of thing. God damn, insects! Anyway. Running Xanathar, very fun, very complicated. I haven't tried it properly yet. I'm really excited to, if the party ever comes across that, which, for my current Waterdeep campaign that I'm running, they very well might. Laura's in that campaign, so I love just like teasing things. She also knows way too much about it in comparison. Like, watch the video about Troll Skull Alley. There's some really big lore drops she knows about.
Do I?
Yeah! Vincent Trench being a Rakshasa.
Yeah, well, I forgot that till you mentioned it.
Oh, there you go. So, some advice on running Xanathar. It's really hard to give it. Everyone's Xanathar is their own Xanathar. It is a very interesting character that I really love to see different people's renditions of. There's quite a few fun ones if you ever try to look them up. Not too many people actually run Xanathar as a main villain because it's a very daunting task. I haven't done it myself for the campaign, but all of the villains are a relatively prominent force. So that's quite fun. Using Xanathar effectively is quite difficult. It itself is not really going to be around. If the party meets the Xanathar, they fucked up real bad because it is a beholder, but it has 3 very good magic items that it's attuned to. So it makes it even harder to handle. Don't let the players meet the Xanathar. It'll be bad. Unless they're maybe past level 5 and they have a few tricks up their sleeve. Like that anti-magic cone. Whoo! I might make a beholder video in the future about how the heck to run those guys, because I've done it before and it killed 2 party members. One of them was Laura's character. They're very lethal creatures, and they're probably one of the only somewhat later game creatures that actually represent the challenge rating that they're given. It's 1 CR above the Bone Claw, but the Bone Claw, kind of easy to take out in comparison. It's got legendary actions, and it's a legendary creature, and CR 13 makes sense for once. I'm so happy that that's actually a thing. Let's talk a bit about the Xanathar's lair. Xanathar rests very deep in the sewers, very, very, very deep. The only real way that the party should be able to get there is from specific directions from a few high faction members. There's actually a quest that I believe I think it's either the Brigandate or the Lord's Alliance, that if your party is a member of either of those factions, a late level quest that they can be given is to go into that base. So they'll learn where that thing is. So it's pretty fun. It's really the only lair that isn't hidden in plain sight. It's real deep underground, and it makes sense for a goddamn beholder, because that's what they're skeptical about. People finding them, and the Xanathar is definitely no exception. It's smart as well. It knows that Lyral Silverhand, the current Open Lord of Waterdeep, could fucking kick his ass. So, with good reason, he's absolutely petrified of her and will willingly yield if it means that they're not going to incur the wrath of Lyral, basically. Which is a cool little thing that the party can pull if they feel so inclined. The moment a creature enters the Xanathar's lair and they're smart enough to scry on them, because it has a few scrying sensors placed around, it'll know that they're there and will probably use its disintegration ray to just burrow a hole and stay there. There's even actually an escape route engineered into the whole thing that the Xanathar can actually laser open and hide in, I think. It's pretty neat. I like the attention to detail. There's a lot of things in the base that can kill you that I would recommend being careful of. There is the Mind Flayer that chills in there with a bunch of Intellect Devourers. Don't let a party of level 4 or lower go near that thing, because if it gets 2 rounds of living, they're screwed. Definitely wait until people have extra attack, or better cantrips, or like counterspell, or just something that can face against a Mind Flayer. They're another one of those creatures that actually really makes sense for their challenge rating. I kind of like the attention to detail with the Aboliths don't get enough love, I don't think at all. So I'm glad that Mind Flayers and Beholders are so true to their nature. A few other things. There's some fun events that can happen in there, as with most of the bases that I'll talk to you about. These ones in particular, there's less of them. I think there's the least amount in this place. There's one that can involve a massive pit fight, and if the party don't look sus, it's kind of sus. I don't know if Among Us has gone out of date by now, but it's currently very trendy. But if the party doesn't look suspicious, they might even get thrown into the ring, and they might be able to fight for a prize. And that's pretty cool. If they walk in, I think they'll find, if there's a pit fight going on in the middle of the pits, a Minotaur just destroying a little halfling girl. The little halfling girl is a bad person, don't get me wrong, so it's not like the end of the world. They're not like killing a 10-year-old or whatever. There's some other fun stuff as well. I believe Xanathar's... I'm doing this off memory. Xanathar's Majordomo is a dwarf. Xanathar has an obsession with dwarves, as you'll find out, that all of his humanoid people that he has are dwarves. It likes dwarves, I don't know. This Majordomo, I forget the specific name of him, but he really, really likes Minotaurs. For some reason, there's a Minotaur skeleton chilling in his room, and he has like a maze, a tiny maze, just built out. There's some really fun stuff that goes on in the dungeon. It's very nice, in the sewer dungeon thing. There's even a spy that's a member of the Bregendathe, the Drow group, that is actually like basically double agenting and is like chilling in there, pretending to be the Bregendathe spy in order to like avoid too much conflict, but secretly I think really likes the Xanathar and likes their jib, the cut of their jib. There's also a few Beholder zombies scattered around, where Beholders are very random. A party of level 7 could fight a Beholder zombie, and if they kind of roll bad, one of them might die. It's pretty interesting, because you randomly roll for each eye ray that the Beholder does, unless you hate your players and you choose just Death Ray every single time, so that then you're consistently doing 60 damage, or an average of 150 damage a round with a Beholder, just pew, 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 and it's only CR 13, so maybe not a good idea to do that. That would even destroy your Barbarian in one turn at that level, unless they built the fucking craziest constitution ever. So be careful for that. There's some pretty neat stuff that you can do with the Xanathar. You can even raid your party's house, Troll School Manor, with a bunch of bugbears or goblins or a Beholder zombie. It's actually a quest that you can do for, I believe, the Bregendathe. The Bregendathe get you doing some really fucking cool stuff, but you need to be a drow to be a member of them. Oops. And not many people choose drows. Sad times. If you want to do that jazz, though, you might get in a quest that's basically like those old tower defense games, where you've got a dwarf in your basement and you've got to stop the bugbears and the Beholder zombie from getting them. It's pretty fun, and you could do plenty of other stuff like that. The Xanathar is always in action. There's always little raids going on. There could even be a random encounter involving a bunch of bugbears jumping a bunch of Zentarim and just whack, and then they're like, and then they run away. Thank you for watching Magical Tea Party. This is probably going to be, I don't know how Laura edited this. We're going to find out. And I'm not sure if there's going to be a bunch of me going, ah! Ooh, ah! But that's what I've done. God, I'm so skeptical now. I saw like a particle of dust fly by my face and I just... But yeah, thanks for watching. Laura, do cool editing stuff. Do a like, and a comment, and a subscribe, and a bell. I know what I'm saying, okay? We're at 49 subscribers right now. Make it 50. I don't know. We're probably on like 60 now. Growth's actually been really good recently, and we haven't been able to properly address it, but it's been very cool, so thank you. Au revoir. Fucking subscribe.
My God, there's so many things going on.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but Laura just screamed about how many things there are going on.
The cat is being lazy. You're not doing your job, Moo Moo.